Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. In the last part, we wrapped up finding all the Zora Eggs and actually played the new wave bossa nova song we got for Lulu, which technically unlocked the next temple for us. But we're not doing that temple in this 3-day cycle because there's more side quests I'd like to get done before we even think about tackling the place, to be completely frank with you. Plus, I am still swordless technically, and while you can get through most of that dungeon without a sword, honestly, the one or two things that a sword helps a lot with, I'd rather use it for instead of like using Mikau's attacks or Gorman punches or anything, so we're gonna rely on waiting for our sword. For now, it's time for us to actively investigate something that was brought up I think almost the exact second we entered Zora Cave here. On the far end, you can even see it on the southeast, there's a doorway that leads to another area that leads us to a pretty important side quest. You do need the hook shot to get up here though, so you're gonna be waiting a little bit no matter what on your first visit here. Also, Tattle turns blue, which makes me think you can summon Pierre here, but I don't exactly know why you would, because it's not like it would really save you any time. I think you might be able to climb on those little reeds there, by the way, or vines on that particular platform. Don't quote me on that, but I think you could do that, because that's identical to the vine sprite we've seen elsewhere in the game. Now, I don't recommend coming in to do this side quest if you're looking at something that's pretty time sensitive, like you have to be somewhere in like an hour in-game or two. Because the Waterfall Rapids, you're here if you want to get everything for quite a couple of in-game hours. At least at normal in-game speed. Slow down, maybe not so much. How you doing over here, little Beaver? Just kind of swimming around. Oh, hey, don't run away from me. Seeing this animation just made me realize something about this area, but I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's come down here and actually talk to the little guy.
You again? You can't fool me with your green clothes. You want an empty bottle, don't you? You never learn your lesson. Okay, I'll give you one. But only if you can swim through all the rings in the river in under 2 minutes. So, do you want to try?
Yeah.
There's a total of 20 rings. You must swim through them in the right order for it to count. Swimming through the ring that's flashing. I'll show you the way, so follow me and don't get separated.
So this is sort of a race in that you need to get to the finish line before the end, but you don't actively have to beat the Beaver. There are Superman 64 rings in the water that you actively need to swim through the center of. With that said, things to note, if you swim through them in the wrong order, like you ignore one that's flashing, go to the next one, that's an automatic failure. The rings do rotate to face you, so you don't have to worry about having to pull some real weird hairpin turns for the most part. And the rings themselves are solid objects, so if you are off-center, you will likely collide with the edges and just lose some time. It's not a big loss of time, because I don't think this minigame is exactly tight on time for the most part, unless you're really not used to the Zora swimming, and with as well as this controls, that's kind of a hard statement in my eyes. And thankfully, at least here in the Western version, you don't have to jump through any of the hoops. Because of the generally raised water levels for the Western version, I'm not sure if you actively have to jump through any of these hoops in the Japanese version of the game, but in the long run, you should be fine. Yeah, something I'm only just realizing, I think the Waterfall Rapids main start area might be slightly reused environment data from Ocarina of Time, in that I think it might be just reused parts of like Jabu Jabu's little lake on top of the Zora's domain. I think I might be reading too much into that. It seems similar enough though. Yeah, we're already near the end of this. This race is pretty straightforward. Like right here is probably one of the hardest hoops to get. Just because if you're too close to the water, you might just jump out at a weird angle and hit something.
That was perfect. That's not good.
Did you call me little brother?
I called you big brother. Actually.
What? An empty bottle?
Yeah, an empty bottle.
Don't worry, little brother. To us, empty bottles are a treasure. I can't give you one just because you beat my little brother.
We can't just give you one.
I'll give you one if you race once more against me. So will you try?
Yeah.
The rules are the same, but this time there are 25 rings. Don't fall behind. So now we have to do it again in the same time, but with 5 more rings. The rings are placed in places that are slightly harder to get to from one to the next, but it's not that much harder. If memory serves, I did have slightly more trouble with this in the 3DS release, but part of that just comes down to how they changed the Zora period. And I'll probably talk more about the exact specific sparring, what I've mentioned about the speed differences and having to use magic, probably when we're in the temple itself. But in general, this isn't a very hard minigame. If anything, these are a very good showcase of how good this game's swimming control is, because you can just get through this all so smoothly. And it makes me wonder why we seldom see swimming control like this. If an N64 game, yes, a late N64 game, could pull this off, why can't so many others get this right? Like this, the only other swimming physics I really like in games that are not this are like Mega Man, and even that's not exactly swimming, that's the more like low gravity physics. And I like that kind of stuff, so why can't more get this right? Like I immediately think of Horizon Forbidden West, because I played that through last year. I liked that game enough in general, but the few seconds you had to swim to explore some caves just felt bad, and I did not like that. But that said, you're actively going through the exact same course and path, it's just there's 5 more rings placed along the way, so there's some tighter periods from one to another. He did it, little brother.
Yeah, he did, big brother.
There's nothing we can do, little brother.
This is a mess, big brother.
And thus we get our 4th empty bottle.
We underestimated you.
So that's that first part of this mini game done, but we have a second round we can do against them if we come over here and talk to them again. He's back, little brother.
Yeah, he's back, big brother.
But we don't have any more empty bottles. Do we, little brother?
Now we don't have any, big brother.
If you say you still want to race, though, that's fine. Oh, you do? Sure, I'll race. First, you have to start with my little brother. This time, the limit is 1 minute 50 seconds. Don't fall behind. So now we need to do both these races again with a stricter time limit. That's not even that much stricter. I'm speeding it up just because it's the same thing again. If you did it the first time, you probably finished it in enough time to finish it this time, no problem. We did it again, little brother.
He did it again, big brother.
That's shameful, little brother. Now race me. What will you do? I'll race again. The time limit is the same as it was for my little brother, 1 minute 50, but there are 25 rings this time. Don't fall behind. This is the bottle I was talking about, by the way, at the Pirate's Fortress, where if you go out of your way, you can have 3 to 4 bottles at that point to do it all in one shot, but to get this bottle anyway, you need the hook shot from the Pirate's Fortress, so you'd still be visiting it twice, so you might as well grab the first 2 while you're there with 2 bottles. Again, the Pirate's Fortress feels like it could have been optimized a little more, and 3DS didn't really do anything with that. He's a formidable opponent, little brother.
You're all just talk, eh, big brother?
If we give that to him, I wonder if you'll leave us alone, little brother.
Yeah, I want to quit, big brother.
And we get a piece of heart.
Please let it be over.
And it is. We never need to do anything here again. For now, though, we're going to focus on getting another thing done. And this one's kind of out of the way. And there's a couple of ways you could get this done, technically. I'm heading back to Southern Swamp. Because even though Woodfall Temple isn't cleared, and the swamp is poisoned, if you use a bottle on any of the non-poisoned water in the swamp itself, it counts as pure water and you can put it in your bottle. The reason I'm doing this is I'm now going to go buy a magic bean from the Deku we moved over to the Clock Town, and then head back to Great Bay itself. Because we can use that water, of course, to make that bean grow, and since we have that and the Scarecrow song in this cycle, we can get a piece of heart here in Great Bay. Now, other ways you could do this. If memory serves, at some point during the second day, pretty much universally, at least in Clock Town it rains, and I think that rain extends at least into Termina Field. I can't remember if it extends into like Southern Swamp or the Great Bay and all that. I think it might, but don't quote me on that. But also, there is a song down the line that will bring rain to grow the vine, period, in the case you don't want to get a bottle of water. But because I don't have that song yet, we're stuck doing this the long way. In order to get this piece of heart, though, you need not only a magic bean, the water, or that song, and the Scarecrow song, you do need the hook shot, so make sure you've gone through Pirate's Fortress at this point. Moments like this do really show where Majora's Mask learned from Ocarina of Time in terms of what worked and what didn't. Because they massively cut down on things like magic beans to get 100%. Obviously, if you haven't noticed, gold Skulltulas are more or less nowhere to be seen in the main world of the game. Fishing's not there and all that. They took what worked really well from the game and kind of left behind what didn't for the most part. There are still instances of almost all those things in some form, but they're very constricted to specific environments in a way that makes them feel better. And not for nothing, especially with the fishing thing. Majora's Mask 3D made it work in a way that actually kind of makes the game feel more complete. Cause you may have even noticed it by now, there's a number of masks we have that don't really seem to do much besides one thing. Like the Bremen mask will have another use down the line, but for the most part it's just to get the bunny hood. But the fishing minigames and areas they added to Majora's Mask 3D. You can actively wear a lot of the masks that are only for like a single heart piece or for unlocking another mask, and usually they'll attract a specific variety of fish if you're going for them all. And hey, that gives them an added purpose, and I appreciate that. And there's the piece of heart, and with that, the Scarecrow song is not completely useless, but it's useless for 100%. You don't need to get it again on any future 3-day cycles unless there's like just some extra restock pots or minor shortcuts you can use by using Pierre. And by and large, if there are, I never use them or are aware of them. For now, though, I'm gonna go deposit my rupees and grind it to curry at least once or twice if memory serves, and then wait around for one of the few things I always seem to get wrong in this game on top of the Woodfall pictograph contest. In that, there is a side quest we can do involving the post office, which is the door right next to the sword trading area we went to at the start of the first normal 3-day cycle. But you can only do the side quest there during specific hours on the day of and night of the first day. I have, for years, remember being able to do it on the night and day of the second day as well. And there's even people on the internet saying the same thing. But I think both this playthrough and my last 2 or 3, that has not been the case. So, I'm not sure if I'm Mandela affecting myself, I'm not sure if I'm a slider from another particular universe that's just very specific in this one way or what, but you cannot do the thing I'm thinking of here at the post office on the second day on at all. And that is completely counter to my memories, so what's happening here? So I'm technically wasting this time. If anything, you could use this if you're playing along. Go grind more rupees in general. Because the next thing I definitely want to do is not until close to the night of the second day over back at Romani Ranch. But, oh well. The hours that stick in my mind for being able to do this now are between 3 and 5, but that's apparently not the case. Oh wow, I actually do grind more to Takuris. I forgot about that. Again, the Takuris aren't the most efficient in the long term for getting rupees, considering the amount of arrows they take to kill, even with using like the fire arrows to boost damage. But they're the most efficient method we have for right now besides grinding the dongos. For now, though, it's time for us to head over to Romani Ranch, because it's getting close to the time period where we might miss that side quest, and I don't want to do that. In particular, around this time of day-ish / just after the shift to the night of the second day, Cremia, Romani's sister, will be just outside the barn house. Oh, also you can kind of have highlighted right here. The dog's going to start yelping. The dogs in this game react to each of your transformations differently. They hate and will try to kill the Deku. They're neutral to Hylian Link. They fear Goron Link, but they love Zora Link. Oh my, hello. Romani's going to take our milk to Clocktown too. You're looking after the place. The cows would be all alone otherwise. Yes, sister. I'm going by wagon into town. Would you like a ride? I'll be leaving at about 6 o'clock this evening, so you can join me if you like. And I would like that. I could play the Song of Inverse Time right here just to speed this up, but at the end of the day, that's not too long of a wait compared to other waits, so we'll just let this 3 minutes pass, no problem. This is, again, where technically there's probably more efficient ways for me to get through the game. I could have used each of these seconds to do something if it is rupee grinding, but if it's this small of a time difference, I don't mind. 36 hours remain. And there's Creamio. Oh, good evening. I'm going to town now to deliver milk. Would you like a ride? Sure. That's great. Tonight I'm kind of lonely. I welcome company. I guess it's been a while now since our father died. I'm trying to take care of the ranch, but things have been getting unstable lately. The cows always seem bothered and frazzled, and I'm finding broken bottles everywhere. Who's doing it, I don't know. My sister Romani's been worried too. She's practicing using a bow. She says it's to stop the ghosts. Say, what are the townsfolk saying about that moon? It's bigger than before, isn't it? In town, I have a friend. Her name's Anju. Anju, the day after tomorrow is her wedding. Day after the end of the world, ugh. I wonder if it'll fall, that thing. You probably don't need to know that information, just for your peace of mind. That's not usually there. Odd. What's the road? Boy, get your bow ready. First Milk Road is blocked by a boulder. Now, we have to take this detour through ugly country. Are you ready, boy? I'm going to try to get us through here as fast as I can. If any pursuers come from behind, chase them off with your arrows. They may be after my cargo of milk bottles. Do you understand? Yes. Thanks. I'm relying on you. If we can get through here, I'll have a big thanks for you. So, here the Gorman brothers are wearing some of the masks they gave us, and will actively try to charge you to destroy the milk bottles. With that said, because you have unlimited arrows, you can just spam the ever-living shit out of the B button, and they'll probably never be able to touch you. This minigame I've always found a little weird in one respect, and that's because of how another reward we can't get until after it makes this minigame easier. But I'll talk more about that towards the end of the part. I had trouble with this when I was younger, but that was because I didn't really realize I didn't have ammo here and I was trying to conserve my arrows, but no, you can just go all out. I do think from memory that the bottles have more than 1 HP, so to speak, so they can get like smacked once or twice before breaking. And you can lose 2 bottles, you just can't lose all 3. I think the dialogue does change slightly after the fact if you lose a bottle or 2. But it's been so long since that happened to me, I genuinely do not remember. And we're home free. Mr. Barton was having to get his first delivery in quite a while. Thank you. You were pretty cool. This isn't very big, but accept my thanks. And we get Romani's mask, where it would see to show we're a member of the exclusive Milk Bar Latte. By doing one good deed, a child becomes an adult. That mask is only given to a limited number of adult customers. It's proof of membership. I now acknowledge you as being an adult. You guarded the ranch's milk. This was added to your notebook. Notably, if you redo that minigame on repeat cycles, you actually have a chance of being hugged by her, which, cute, but also kind of weird. So, that mask allows us to access the bar on East Clocktown, but that place doesn't open until 10. So, to fill the time, I'm doing more Takuri grinding. Notably, that minigame does get foreshadowed. If you talk to the Gorman brothers before you get Epona, they actively talk about disliking Romani Ranch, suggesting that you can even steal a horse from them and they would never notice. And they claim that they water down their milk, which is just kind of weird. Especially given the context of what milk is from this point on in the Zelda franchise, just about particularly special milks you can get at the bars, but I'll talk more about that again in a few moments. slash the next part or two, depending on when I remember to do certain things and talk about certain things. My memory is, at times, kind of faulty. It remembers the most bizarre things, like what game I was playing at what point on the card ship when we passed by a certain landmark, but sometimes it doesn't remember how I edited videos. Life is hard. And with that, I think we're closing in on 4,000 rupees, but now since we're close to 10, let's wait in front of the bar. You actively can enter before 10, but it's not open until 10. I think if you're actually there when 10 hits, the bartender actively kicks you out. So get on your Romani mask and wait for 10 o'clock to hit. In the mire, hey, that's where the stray fairy is here at night that I mentioned way back at the start of the LP. Ah, you remember. Please come in. Welcome to the milk bar. Already we can see there's some key NPCs in here. Hey, Gorman. Bah, bother, I'm busy. Gorman, the leader of the traveling troupe, was added to your notebook. Hello, Talon's repurposed NPC. Sir, it's the rules. Please wear your mask around here. Yeah, you can't actually talk to the shopkeeper unless you actively have the mask on. We got some good milk in tonight. Would you like some more money for your final moon viewing? So I don't invest in any because I don't really need the magic from it at the moment, but the Romani he's talking about is Chateau Romani, a special milk that costs, I think, 200 rupees that gives you infinite magic for the rest of the 3-day cycle you're currently on. Hey, you! Milk, it's milk. You get tipsy from some, like, milk. So milk is sort of alcohol. Don't look at me. Anyway, I'm just a second son. I can't handle horses like my older brothers. I can't take care of horses like my younger brother. I left the ranch, came to know the show world, the show business, travel around, but for what? For nothing. Always had to enter the world of entertainment, didn't I? It's cold. So cold. So that's confirmation he's a brother of the other two Gormans. They were scheduled to do a show, but it got canceled. This place has a reputation for being a great live venue, so it's a shame. I'd like to do a sound check, though. I just want to see what it would have sounded like. Hey, you. Can you help me with a performance? Sure. Okay, you played the ocarina, right? Go stand under the center spotlight. Okay, play your ocarina like this. Okay, that feels good. Well, that feels good. That wretched, senseless racket. Toto, the band manager, was added to your notebook. So now we need to talk to Toto as all 3 of our transformations to get more of that song added on again and again and again. This was made slightly easier in Majora's Mask 3D just because you could have all 3 masks on buttons at once as well as the ocarina. Okay, you play the drums, right? Go stand under the rear left spotlight. Okay, play your drums like this. I really like this minigame in concept. It does take a little bit, though. And the dialogue afterwards never really changes until we hit all 4 of them. Also, not minigame. This is definitively a side quest. Sometimes my brain interchanges those words in this game because so many side quests in this are minigames and vice versa. For now, time for our 3rd instrument. Okay, you play the pipes, right? Go stand under the front left spotlight. I do think it's kind of funny that the Goron gets arguably the smallest spotlight, whereas the Deku gets arguably the 2nd largest? Alright, 3 down, 1 to go. I forget if the 3DS version changed up dialogue here after every successive instrument. I don't think it did, but that would have been nice to make him just get more and more angry or vice versa. Or the opposite, rather. Okay, you play guitar, right? Stand beneath the spotlight on the right. Hey, no, get in the center of it, me. There we go. Okay, play your guitar like this. Bravo! That was the best.
That melody. That melody. It brings back so many memories.
It's their old standby, Ballad of the Windfish. That's the song that members of the previous generation of the Indiegogos made famous.
I entered show business because I heard this song at the Carnival of Time long ago. By doing performances, I thought maybe I'd get to meet the singer of that song.
The one you heard singing must have been the original Lulu, mother of the current lead singer who's also named Lulu.
So her daughter is singing now. Is that so? I'd like to hear that. I'm sorry I booed you. Please, take my mask.
And we get the circus leader's mask. This mask looks so sad it could even put a tear in a demon's eye. You saw the tears of the circus leader Gorman. This was added to your notebook. This mask is useless in the N64 version. It's funny because when you put it on, you walk, you cry tears. But the only mechanical purpose this has is that if you do the fighting the aliens into helping get past the Gorman brothers with Romani and Cremia, the Gorman brothers will not attack you while you have this mask on. They'll just kind of sit there all sad-like. This was remedied in 3DS by adding a side quest where on the dawn of the second day, you can go take this to Gorman in his room in the stock pod. Talk to him with it, he'll ask for a special milk, you go to his brothers, they'll give you the special milk, you need to get it to him within 2 minutes, which is best done with the bunny hood, because you can't actively warp or use the Goron mask to get that done. And that ultimately will give you the 7th bottle. But otherwise, you can only just get it to get some extra dialogue about missing their brother if you take it to the other Gormans back at the racetrack, so But with that, I'm gonna need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 17, we're gonna do a lot more side quests around Termina before doing more, probably. See you guys then.